Okay, Clarissa, well, since you don't want to fight me, you know that the knockdown that I gave you was a clean knockdown. To fight me, you will regret it the rest of your life.
Always the light skinned girls.
But ego, there's no one for Claressa Shields to fight.
Oh,
Hannah Gabriels has entered the chat. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Most requested video regarding Claressa Shields right now. Bunch of you guys in my DMs. I try to get to everyone. I can't always respond, but people wanted to know my thoughts on Claressa potentially rematching Hannah Gabriels. Now, I'm going to tell you off rip, spoiler alert, I love it. Stay tuned in the video, I'll explain why. Stats and Facts did an interview, and we're going to go over a snippet, and then I'll be back to give you my thoughts. Play the clip.
all right, now before we get out of here, is it like any message you want to send or say to Claressa about making this fight that's going to eventually happen?
Direct question, love it. What do you have to say about to Claressa?
Okay, Clarissa, well, since you don't want to fight me, please, I beg you to stop spreading the narrative that I cheated. You know it is not true. You know that the knockdown that I gave you was a clean knockdown. I know you remember that long walk to the corner.
Oh, she said you had that Stephen King, The Longest Walk. You heard? Rissa, she said, I know you remember. And it's so funny because she has such a pleasant voice. And she like, I know you remember that long walk to... Let's go, Hannah. Well played. Yeah, well played.
I know you rather not fight me. But remember that long walk to the corner. I know you rather not fight me. But if you are not planning to stop diminishing and tarnishing my name, give me the fight. I will shut you up. You are not going to finish that fight. You have done enough. You and your team have damaged me and my family enough. And if you have the mercy...
Hey, boxers are low-key kind of scary because she's saying things that are like, you know, I mean, she talking spicy, but she's smiling. Hey, these boxers, these boxers, like, it's funny to the mind of a fighter is just something different this world has never seen. She looked peaceful, she looked calm, but you see a little like smirk, you know what I mean, a little smirkish as she's like laughing, like, yeah, I got something for you. You ain't gonna finish that fight. Yeah.
full balls, like I told you that day in your DMs, to fight me, you will regret it the rest of your life. I'll see you soon if you have the fire to respond to this.
And then she went to sipping the tea or whatever that is, yerba mate. Wow. Wow. Now, what I've noticed about the GWOAT stands and their little GWOAT dials, y'all be making non-stop excuses. Hannah Gabriels fought Claressa Shields and lost, right? It was a 10-round fight. It was a good fight. See, and that's the thing with the GWOAT stands. I'm pretty sure they don't even really follow boxing like that. Like, they know Claressa maybe, and they like what they see or whatever, but you don't know the details. You don't know, like me, I'm different. I'm cut from a different, I'm Sonny Liston, I'm Jack Dempsey, I'm cut from their cloth. There's nobody that can match me. My style is impetuous, my defense is impregnable, I'm just ferocious. I'm like Mike Tyson said in that speech, I'm something different. I remember, because I think most people, even people who are critical of Shields now, everybody was cool. Everybody was supporting Claressa. See, and that's another like misnomer and misconception when it comes to Claressa Shields. There's this notion that just everybody out to get her, everybody's jealous, everybody is, all of these things. And I don't believe that's the case at all. I don't think people are jealous. I don't think people are arbitrarily just saying stuff to try to tarnish or stain Claressa Shields' name. And the funniest thing when it comes to Claressa Shields, a whole lot of projection. Everything she accuses bloggers, YouTubers, fans, other boxers of doing is usually her that is actually doing it, right? It is usually her, right? So I find that pretty ironic. She'll be like, oh, it's a paid hate campaign. But then you look at the actual facts. She was reaching out to Nigeria, her ex-best friend, trying to have a smear campaign against Geisha 305, an online personality, trying to coax her and gas her up into putting unflattering pictures of Remy Ma up that are already available on Google. So that was pretty stupid. But this is what Claressa Shields does, right? And then she'll say, yeah, everybody hating. Oh, it's a paid hate campaign. Or maybe you're just a nasty person, right? You could be a great fighter, but a POS as a person, or a nasty, uncouth person. Two things can be true. Now back to Hannah Gabriels. I love it. I love the call out. Claressa Shields stands. They're going to make excuses. Oh, man. But the funny thing is, again, let's talk real boxing. Record 22-2-1. She has more knockouts than Claressa Shields, right? So she looks the part, right? Pretty girl. Looks the part. Can fight. Clearly has some pop because she has a better record of knockouts than Claressa Shields. That's almost a 60% ratio, right? Now, you can be like, oh, she's inactive. But in my opinion, they did a whole smear campaign after they said initially that she failed a drug test, which I'm not going to forget. We'll get to that in a second, right? So I love the fight. She's Costa Rican. She's talking the talk. She wants redemption. She wants Claressa Shields, right? Says super middleweight, etc. So she hasn't fought in a few years. 2024 was her last fight at 166 pounds. So Claressa just went down to 160, but she came from 175 heavyweight, right? So that should be no problem. And here's the reality of it. The GWOAT stands are going to try to make excuses and cape for Claressa Shields to avoid this smoke and avoid this look in this fight and be like, she already beat her. Who cares? She don't need to do that. But you just fought earlier this year, Franchon Cruz, literally in February. Mind you, Claressa Shields has faced Franchon Cruz 5 times between the amateurs and the pros. Twice as pros, 5 times total. Starting when Claressa Shields was 16. So you have several wins over Franchon Cruz, who's a great fighter. Shout out to my girl Franchon, right? But stylistically, you had beaten her, right? In fact, I was there at your first fight, right? Where you turned pro. That's who you fought, Franchon Cruz, right? Back in 2016 when Claressa had just turned pro, right? I was there live, right? So you turned pro fighting her. Now, I don't want to get into too much detail and lose focus on this video, but according to my knowledge, you fought Franchon Cruz. She didn't have a full camp for this fight. You were the person put on this Rock Nation card that they were trying to up and promote and boost or whatever. So you end up fighting, but she didn't have full time to prepare. Then when you rematched her again earlier this year in February, right? You made her come up in weight when she's a champion at 168. But you were willing to go to 160, lose even more weight for K. Scott? Come on, bro. Claressa Shields is looking bad. It really is, because K. Scott can't really fight like that. She looked like a big stiff person in there. You know, she looked like Frankenstein or whatever. Might as well have bolts coming out of her neck. Bogus, right? Franchon can really fight, but then you put her on a rehydration clause. For those who don't know what that is, it's where the fighter is stifled in how much they can rehydrate, how much weight you can gain, basically, right? So it's little gamesmanship things that Claressa Shields has done that a lot of people don't know. And she's not the first, I'll say that in boxing, not the first to try to like slant the fight in their way strategically. But I'm just saying, the way Claressa chirp and talk and be like, oh, I'm the GOAT and stuff, you would think that she wouldn't be somebody who's participating in strategic gamesmanship. She's just like, I'll beat anybody. They can't whoop me. These girls are bums. All my fights be easy. I ain't never been dropped, even though Hannah Gabriels dropped you. So I don't know why she goes on to say that, right? So that's how you did Franchon. You could have went from heavyweight down to her division where she had belt, but then you didn't. You brought her up and put a rehydration clause so she couldn't weigh too much, right? But then you're willing to drop even below her division, super middleweight, to fight at middleweight against K. Scott. You see how like you're kind of playing it soft. Now back to Hannah Gabriel, she talking spicy. She been on your line and you keep pitching this whole thing of her being a drug cheat. Listen, initially there was a test that flagged for a banned substance. However, I have looked over the documentation, right? And if y'all want, I can do a separate video on that. But I've received the documentation and it was ultimately reversed. So here's something from a boxing head to the GOAT stands. They're going to be like, oh, Hannah Gabriel, she a drug cheat. She popped. She failed, right? Even though I just told you what I just told you. One, Claressa had the marijuana test and then it went away and she didn't get suspended. Remember that? Right? She flagged for marijuana. Upon further investigation, they were like, you know what? It was a faulty test or whatever they said. They cleared her name. So how does it work in the GOAT stand's mind where Claressa Shields can pop and flag for anything, marijuana, right? And then they do further investigation and determine that there was an error made or it was justified in any way and her name is cleared. But then when it comes to Hannah Gabriel and then they found out what happened, you're still carrying on that she's a cheat, a PED cheat. How does that work? If you're a diehard GOAT stand, don't go out bad. I need y'all to explain that. Explain how it's okay for Claressa to flag, knowing that there's people around her that probably do smoke, right? I'm just being real. Her sister, don't she smoke and drink? Bree, right? So there are people around you, and she's like, I don't have no one around me that does that. Okay, whatever. But the main point that I want y'all to focus on is how is it that when she flags for something, she says, no, I didn't do it. It was the one-armed man. I'm innocent. They review it, and then they're like, okay, cool. She's cleared. But then when it's Hannah Gabriel, you're like, nah, it ain't cleared. And you continue to push that she's a PED cheat. Now, I told you, I'm the best in the business, and it's not even close. If you listen to my talking points, you will understand, right, that I'm making points that you can't really refute. So that's one. One point is, how is it okay for Claressa to flag and then get it reversed upon further investigation, but not for somebody else like Hannah Gabriel? Two, if we're going to use the drug cheat, this is why they can't beat me, man. Because if we're going to use the whole, oh, she a drug cheat angle, that's why we're not going to see a rematch. Then why do you keep talking about Alicia Baumgartner? Why do you say you want to fight her? Because Alicia Baumgartner flagged, you try to drag her for it. You're like, oh, you a cheat. I ain't never had to use DRUGS's like Baumgartner. And you keep throwing that on her and saying like, yo, you keep making that a focal point that Baumgartner has popped before, which is true, right? She did pop, right? Even though she has her reasons why she said it happened or whatever. You make it your business, make it your point to point out that Baumgartner popped. That's what you do. But when you did the interview with Big Tigger, he said, name 3 people that you want to see, that you want to fight in the ring. And she's like, oh God, oh man. So many people, should I say, YouTubers, bloggers, let me think. Okay, I got it. The name she came up with, 50 Cent, which is stupid. Papoose just said he don't want you fighting no man, so he gonna let you fight 50. We just seen a man drop you in sparring. 50 used to do Golden Glove. He might rock you, but whatever. Then you said Layla Ali, and then you said Baumgartner. So again, the GWOAT stands look foolish because even if you don't believe that Hannah Gabriel is innocent or whatever, you don't believe me, whatever. Why does she still talk about Baumgartner? If popping before rules out future fights, then why did she say she wanted to fight Baumgartner, right? Who's also popped in the past, right? It don't make sense. So either way, you're trapped. Either way you try to go, ego has blocked the exits. I blocked all the exits. You gonna get this smoke. You gonna get this smoke inhalation no matter what. I done blocked all the exits. So that don't even make sense. So you need to fight Hannah Gabriels. She dropped you. She's the only woman that has dropped you. I know the dude in sparring, but that's a man, whatever. And you're like, yeah, they bragging because a man dropped me. Ain't no female did it. Okay. She literally said that in an interview recently. No female dropped me. You got a certified knockdown in that fight. Early too. First, second round or whatever it was. Right? And the other angle is this. Is what better does Claressa Shields have than a person like Hannah Gabriel? Don't make any mistake about it. Claressa could fight. She's a great, talented fighter. I'm not saying that. But for those people who are going to be like, oh, she already whooped her. She already beat her. I've been doing this so long. I already know what they're going to say. These are the comments that they're going to leave. She already done whooped her. She didn't whoop her. She didn't look like Elephant Man after the fight. You know what I mean? She didn't look like this. I mean, yeah, she didn't whoop her. Just put it that way. She beat her. Cool. But what better does Claressa Shields have? Literally, she is a good fighter, but there's only a handful of fighters that are even left right now in modern boxing that you can even justify. We don't want to see more K. Scott. K. Scott fights like that. What does that really prove? You're not going to be fighting Remy Ma. She a rapper, right? She's not a pro fighter. So who are you going to fight? Looking like Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z. Man, come on, bro. You got this Blackula Widow's Peak. Who you going to fight? You know what I mean? Like, there's only a handful of people that it remotely makes sense. Michaela Mayer, Cyborg, Chris Cyborg, Hannah Gabriel, and Tam Tebow, right? Only a couple people that even remotely make sense. But we'll see what Win Records and them try to do, right? And then the fact that Hannah Gabriels is so confident despite being on a layoff, right? Despite the fact that you moved up to heavyweight and you've been active, that makes it intriguing. She really thinks she has your number. And there's one way to find out. There's one way to find out indeed. You got to fight her. You got to step up in the ring. And here's the other thing for the GWOAT stands. The GWOAT stands, right? My thing is this. Watch the K. Scott fight and tell me that was a worthy opponent. Oh man, but ego, K. Scott, she a champion. I don't care. If that's a champion, that wasn't a champion-like performance. She looked slow, clunky, robotic, no defense, no head movement. Literally, it was only a matter of time. I mean, imagine somebody like Tam Tebow that got more power fighting K. Scott. Mind you, Tam just beat Delcy Robinson in a few fights who K. Scott went like life and death with and lost, and then had to come back and fight her and beat her, right? So imagine somebody, a southpaw with more power. Tam might have stopped her earlier. K. Scott, she 42 years old and barely had any fights. That tells you everything you need to know. In the amateur game, in the pro game, two different worlds, right? That would be like middle school versus high school. Two different experiences, right? Middle school, you're this age to this age, this grade to this grade. High school is a different ball game, right? People are older. People are trying different things and doing different things. People are talking, coming into their own, dressing a certain way. High school was way different than middle school, right? The interest alone. Middle school, some people, they're not even interested in the opposite sex like that. You know what I mean? Like, they're not like girl crazy or whatever. By the time you get to high school, that's when you start really, coming to your own if you were shy or wallflower or whatever before. So we're talking about two different things. K. Scott, she can have as many amateur fights. She had one knockout in 80 fights, amateur and pro. So why would you rather see that? Oh, because she has a belt? But who cares? Who cares? So Claressa can keep padding up the resume with just a bunch of like inflated type of accolades, double-digit vacant belts, girls who are champion. Like, and here's the other thing I don't see many people expressing. So leave it to your boy Ego, right? I got y'all. As always, I'ma always kick the actual facts. What a lot of people don't realize with K. Scott, Claressa's last opponent, is she only had it's different now, but it was 5-1-1, right? Before she fought Claressa. She had recently become a champion, right? This is what the trickery in boxing, where it's like technically true, but when you read the fine print, you're like, okay, I get it now. So look, she fought for the vacant WBC middleweight belt, right? Against Olivia Curry. So vacant means the belt had no owner, right? There was not a champion in the occurrence. Both Olivia Curry and K. Scott were eligible for the belt based on WBC rankings or whatever, but neither one of them were the champion. That's what a vacant belt is, right? So you look at the date, right 5 days before Christmas is when they fought again for a vacant belt, meaning Curry nor Scott were champions. She barely beat this girl had a record of 7-2-2 or whatever, right? Her fight just got canceled, by the way, because Claressa Shields' promotion fighter Danielle Perkins failed to make weight on the Atlanta card, but that's another subject, right? She won a majority decision, right? So she didn't win even a unanimous decision, right? Meaning another judge thought Olivia Curry won. So she barely beat a 7-2-2 girl. Her record was like 5-1 or whatever it was. And then she fought Olivia Curry before that, and it ended in a majority draw, right? So they fought back to back. So realistically speaking, yeah, Kay Scott was a champion, but she's a champion from the end of last year to August. Come on, bro. So here's the thing. In boxing, I'm going to say it like this. You got champions and you got champions. For me, a champion would be like a Gervonta Davis, David Benavidez, Naoya Inoue. These guys are champions or were champions, right? And they're tried and true. We know Tank Davis is a good fighter, a great fighter. He's shown you time and time again. Guys like David Benavidez, they've defended belts and continue winning, went up to new divisions like cruiserweight, continue winning. Naoya Inoue, same thing, right? So that to me is a champion. Not only are you a champion because you have a belt, but you're a champion and like a respected champion, and people know, like Bam Rodriguez, he's another one. These are champions that have like defended and continue to keep winning. Kay Scott literally had a draw and then a close fight with Olivia Curry for a vacant belt in December. Never had a title defense, and then fights Claressa Shields, who had way more experience, 2 gold medals, coming down from heavyweight, right? More skills. You see what I'm saying? Like, so it's not really what you guys are making it out to be. Kay Scott, yes, she was a champion, but she barely even got the belt, a vacant belt. And then we never got to see her fight anybody else. So you could have replaced Claressa Shields' name with Tam Tebow, and I would have favored Tam Tebow after seeing more of Kay Scott in the Claressa fight. I don't see how she would have beat her. She barely beat Olivia Curry, right? And Tam Tebow had more amateur experience and stuff like that. So this ain't no champion that like Hagler or Sugar Ray Leonard or Floyd Mayweather or somebody, where it's like, all right, this is a respecting and reigning champion. And this is where people try to get you in the world of boxing. They'll be like, oh, it's a title fight and fighting a champion. And then you look at it, they've been a champion for 5 months with no title defenses. It's not as impressive. Now, it would have been if Kay Scott got the belt in like December 2023 and then went on a win streak and had title defenses and then fought Claressa Shields. Then I'll be like, okay, because now she got the belt in 2023 and then she went on a 2-year win streak spree and never lost. But that's not the case. She was a champion for all of 7 months, basically, before losing bad to Claressa Shields. So women's boxing, particularly in the higher weight class, the talent pools are not that deep. You will not find that in men's boxing, right? I'm not saying people aren't fighting for vacant belts or you don't have mid champions. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying you don't find the lack of depth in men's boxing in pertinent divisions, right? Like, go fight at heavyweight. Prove you're the best at heavyweight. You would have to beat Usyk, Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury. You'd have to beat Fabio Wardley, Daniel Dubois. You would have to beat Moses Atuma, right? That's already 7 people off the top of my head, and I could really keep going. Right? Philip Ergovich. You would have to fight all of these guys to reign supreme and be like, I'm the last man standing. Claressa Shields gets to fight a champion who had no title defenses, fought for a vacant belt, won a majority decision against Olivia Curry, and then now she's like, oh, I'm the 21-time champ and all that. Different game, different talent pool. So going back to Hannah Gabriel, yeah, she don't have a belt because partly y'all try to stain her name up, but who cares? We can see with our own 2 eyes the quality of fighter. There's a lot of people who don't have a belt, but the person that don't have a belt could be better than a person that does have a belt. So maybe in the 60s and the 70s, having a belt mattered. You know, even the 80s and 90s, right? If you were Ray Mercer or Tommy Morrison or whatever, Razor Ruddock, Lennox Lewis, Mike Tyson, you were a top guy, right? Having a belt now in modern boxing, it really doesn't mean much because 1, they got too many belts, and then 2, there's politics. There's robberies where a person gets a belt, but they're like, you watch the fight and you're like, they should have lost. You see what I'm saying? So I don't really care about the belt. Claressa's already decorated. Give us a good fight. And in my honest opinion, Hannah Gabriel is just a much better fight than fighting Kay Scott because I watch boxing and the quality of opposition is significantly better, in my opinion. Significantly better. Right? Belt or no belt. And that's what people don't want to pay attention to. They want to talk all this stuff about belts and, oh, she don't have a belt, so I'm not fighting her and all that. But there's plenty of people who don't have belts that are better than the person that does have belt, because you have to understand boxing is grimy. Like, a promoter could love this fighter and they're putting money behind that fighter, so they're pushing that fighter, right? So they get all the opportunities and they're okay or mid, and then this person could probably whoop this person, but they don't have the promotional push. They don't have a promoter putting in money, and then the promoter won't let you get to this person to ever allow for it to be seen if you can beat them or not. Politics, all politics, right? All politics. Like, that would be like in Hollywood, there might be someone who's getting acting gigs and you're like, this person's not even that great of an actor. There's somebody out here that can outact this person, but because they don't have the right Hollywood connects, they don't have the right agent, nobody's giving them a chance, they'll never get to show you how great of an actor that they are, or that they're better for this role than this actor who can't really act. I know we've all seen movies and you're like, how did that girl keep getting cast in movies? She suck. Or how did this actor keep getting put in movies? His acting is terrible. And then there's a drama student somewhere who's just searching and reaching for the opportunity and waiting, trying to get an opportunity to shine. And it's up to the powers that be to grant it. Like, I know what I can do, and I just need an opportunity to show you what I can do, right? And then I'm a rise to the occasion. And that's everything that I'm passionate about. Like, I could rap, I could edit, I could show you how nice I am if given the opportunity to. You know what I mean? So, yeah. The other situation is, you were already supposed to rematch her. And then, okay, the whole test came out. It looked like she failed or whatever. So it got canceled. But you were already supposed to rematch her. So why, now that she got her name cleared, why would you be above it? Why would you be too good to rematch her now and like, oh, I'm the GWO. I don't gotta look backwards. Why'd you rematch Franchon Cruz? You had already beaten her. So again, the GWO stands, I already understand they're not gonna like this and they're gonna make up a bunch of excuses. But this right here, showing that you already had a fight lined up with her. This is a flyer. This is the official. I remember, I've been covering boxing. I remember when this came out. I've always followed Clarissa's career and Hannah Gabriels, right? So I remember when this flyer dropped. You were supposed to fight her at the Little Caesars Arena on June 3rd, and then it got canceled because she flagged for a banned substance, which was later determined that it wasn't an actual failed test, but the damage had already been done, right? They determined the cause was from a pet medicine or whatnot, but the damage is already done. The fight had already been canceled. There was no way to reverse it. And Claressa went on to fight Maricela Cornejo, right? I remember it like it was yesterday. So don't act like you're above it now when the talent pool, as I just mentioned, is severely lacking and you are already scheduled to rematch her. So what's the big deal about trying to run it now? Right? Especially when you don't really have that many options. You're banned from MVP. So who knows if you can get Tam Tebow or Michaela Mayer? How is that going to happen if MVP bans you? Right? So that's kind of beholden to whatever MVP decides with the ban. You assaulted one of their fighters. There's no guarantee they want to work with you. Right? So every excuse y'all come up with, I've already went over the answer. Oh, you're going to say she's a drug cheat. Then why does she call out Alicia Baumgardner, who popped dirty in the past too? Makes no sense. Oh man, she already beat her. Okay, she already beat Franchon Cruz. And then she still rematched her this year. So don't act like she's above it to run this fade. Then, unlike her and K. Scott, remember she was like, oh, I kind of love you, K. Scott. We used to spar. She knew she could beat that girl. She already knew her from sparring. You could watch her fights with Olivia Curry and see she struggled in back-to-back fights with Olivia Curry. Struggled. Barely winning a vacant belt. But then they want to prop it up like, oh, she was this long-standing champion that was well-respected like Sugar Ray Leonard. No, K. Scott was not that, right? Also, it was a boring build-up in terms of the two fighters. The only thing that made the build-up halfway entertaining was Claressa being off her rocker and saying and doing a bunch of weird cockamamie stuff, right? But in terms of K. Scott interaction with Claressa, that was flat. You guys acted like friends, right? Hannah Gabriel, she talking spicy, so you already got a better backstory. Remember I told you Claressa Shields is a bully. I strongly believe that. Bully behavior. Say it with me. I've been telling y'all this. Bully behavior. Because bullies don't like to be bullied, right? They don't like being in a position where someone can bully them, right? Hannah Gabriel's already dropped you. How is it that Savannah Marshall beat you in the amateurs and you didn't shower for a week? Allegedly, you didn't shower. And then as a pro, you want to rectify that. Right? You want to beat Savannah Marshall to prove once and for all who's the better fighter. And you did that. And I watched it and I celebrated. And Papoose and Remy both hit you up in your DMs. But I'll save that for another video. But then now you are already scheduled to rematch this girl. And now that her name's clear and she's calling you out, you're ignoring her. That's bully behavior to me, right? How is it that you wanted to seek vengeance for Savannah Marshall, but the girl that dropped you, you don't want to clean that up and you don't really have that many better options? So how is it Chris Cyborg, power, Hannah Gabriel, power? These women have power, right? And you looked foolish when she hit you with the uppie or whatever. He fell on the ground looking like Andy's toys from Toy Story when Andy walks in the room, the way you had fell, right? So at least it would be more compelling for that reason. Chris Cyborg got power and sparred you. Hannah Gabriel fought you and got power. But you don't want to look in that direction. You want to play these games. Oh, I'm fighting Lauren Price. Who asked for that? Lauren Price is a smaller girl, and she would have to move up in weight. And she was beat up in her last fight. Her face was all like tattered up. You're just picking what you want to pick while avoiding other fights that would be bigger to me for your legacy. Again, Claressa's a great fighter. There's only a handful of people you can even fight that would even rival you or give you a chance, given the fact that the talent pool in the higher women's weight classes just not that good, not that deep. At one point, they had like 10 or 11 women with licenses in some of these divisions. They only had 10 or 11 women that had boxing licenses in some of the divisions that Claressa's been in at the time. Male boxing is not like that. There's never any division where there's only 10 people that fight in that division with a boxing license. So women's boxing is coming along. This will be a great fight. Make the fight. Don't make excuses, right? Chris Cyborg, Michaela Mayer, Tam Tebow, Hannah Gabriels. I think that's your big four. That's your big four. Not Kay Scott, not Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen, not Lauren Price, not what you want to do, not a baddies. We don't want to see you fight Taseki or something. You know what I mean? Especially all the stuff you chirping, Pop, about being a GOAT. Be the GOAT now.